Look here, old sport. I don't want you to get the wrong idea about me from all these stories you hear. Now, I'm gonna tell you God's truth. I was born to wealthy parents in the Middle West, both dead. I was educated at Oxford because all my ancestors were educated there. After that, I lived like a young Raja in all the capitals of Europe. You know, painting a little. Things for myself only. Trying to forget something very sad that happened to me long ago.
Sorry.
It's all right. Then came the war. In the Argonne Forest. I took a detachment so far forward there was a half-mile gap on either side where the infantry couldn't advance. 2 days and 2 nights. 130 men, 16 Lewis guns. When the infantry came forward, they found the insignia of 3 German divisions among the piles of dead. Look, the reason I'm telling you all this is I have a request to make of you. Now, I understand you're seeing Miss Baker later.
Do you mean you're in love with Miss Baker?
No. No, I'm not. But Miss Baker has kindly consented to speak to you about this matter.
Why don't you just tell me yourself?
Hey, good to see you, Meyer. Mr. Wolfsheim, this is Mr. Carraway, my friend. Mr. Carraway, this is Mr. Wolfsheim.
This is nice. But I like across the street better. At the Metropole. So, you're looking for a connection.
Meyer, this is a friend. This isn't the man. We're meeting him at 4.
Sooner would be better.
I'll go tell him.
Fine fellow, isn't he? Handsome to look at. The perfect gentleman.
Don't forget war hero.
Have you seen his medals?
No.
I have. He's a very impressive young man.
Have you known Mr. Gatsby a long time?
I made his acquaintance just after the war, on a friend's boat. Dan Cody. Dan Cody was a man who died $10 million in debt. Do you know how special an individual has to be to have that much debt? You like my cuff buttons?
Ivory?
Human molars.
Unique.
I told him 3 at the Metropole.
I think I'll wait over there.
Well, Meyer, you don't have to go.
You sit here. Discuss your sports, your young ladies.
He's an interesting guy. Was he a dentist?
No. He's a gambler. He fixed the 1919 World Series.
The night I first met you, Daisy came up to my room later and woke me. She wanted to know what Gatsby. When I described him, she said in the strangest voice, it must be a man she knew. When it all came back to me. They knew each other in Louisville 5 years ago. We ran with different crowds then, but I remember seeing them together once in her car. I remember he looked at her in that way that all young girls want to be looked at sometime.
A strange coincidence.
It wasn't a coincidence at all. I think he half expected her to wander into one of his parties some night. She never did.
What do you mean?
Gatsby bought that house so that Daisy would be just across the bay. He wants to know if you'll invite her to your house some afternoon and then let him come over.
Why didn't he ask you to arrange a meeting?
He wants her to see his house. And your house is right next door.
Later, she told me more about Gatsby's past. He was a penniless young man who'd made it into Daisy's house and her life. He took what he could get, but when he went off to war, Daisy soon slipped back into a rich, full life. When the war ended, and more than a year had passed without a word from Gatsby, she gave up hope and became betrothed to Tom Buchanan of Chicago. On the night before they were to be married, Daisy changed her mind about Tom, but she married him anyway.
Your place looks like the World's Fair.
That's it. How about a trip to Coney Island in my car, old sport? How about a swim in the pool?
No, I gotta go to bed. I talked to Miss Baker. I'm gonna telephone Daisy tomorrow and invite her over for tea.
Well, that's all right. You know, I don't want to put you to any trouble.
Would next Sunday suit you?
Yeah. Yeah, I would, old sport.
Oh, good night.
Good night.
Gatsby's smile was one of those rare smiles with the quality of eternal reassurance in it. It faced the whole world and then concentrated on you as you would like to believe in yourself. Precisely at that point, it vanished, and you were looking at an elegant young roughneck, a year or two over 30, whose elaborate formality of speech just missed being absurd. Leaving nothing to chance, Gatsby turned my modest cottage into a greenhouse. He had waited 5 years so that he could come over to a neighbor's house and accidentally bump into Daisy. The meeting was to be spontaneous.